Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So here it is, another one for the FIMI X8 SE drone. Today we're going to be testing out these parabolic dishes with the iPad for extreme range test in a no interference country area. So I've done a few reviews and range tests in like a residential area with some interference. I've also done a range test on this without these range extenders, these little boosters with just the stock antennas. And we got about, I want to say 2.5 to 3 miles before we completely lost signal. So we just want to see if we're going to get any more range with these guys if there's no interference to worry about, because these guys basically redirect the signal to more of a 45-degree pattern to kind of concentrate it right at the drone. So anyway, let's get started. Okay guys, so in order for this to work right, I've got to kind of hold the controller up like this, and I'm going to have the iPad facing me here so that the range extenders are kind of focusing the signal right at the drone. I can't really tilt them back with these on because they're more for like a Phantom 4 Pro. They're kind of bigger. So anyway, we got everything on. The drone's on. I'm recording this screen. I'm going to be recording that in 4K so you guys can see the journey. Everything is coming in fine, and let's launch as soon as possible. Holding in the launch button. There we go. So that's going to launch. There's really no wind right now, so it's like perfect. We're also going to be testing the precision landing again. So just let it hover there for a second. We'll go up to 40 feet again. Beautiful day today. We'll go up to about 40 feet, just so it's, you know, a fair comparison versus the other stuff I've been doing. And full stick forward now. There she goes. Straight out into the sun and the ocean. So you can see that we're getting a little bit of exposure darkening because the sun is kind of reflecting there. If I wanted to, I could kind of click on, there we go, I just clicked on the ground, but you see how it's all washed out on the ocean. I kind of like that view a little bit better. So we'll also pitch the camera down once in a while. So I want to just be really pointing the controller straight at the drone. So I'm going to click on the map and then zoom out a little bit just to make sure. This is kind of the only way we can do this, guys, is just to make sure you see the arrow on the blue point. That's me and the controller. So just to make sure we're getting the best signal, I want to point the arrow right at the drone. So it looks like it's right there, pointing kind of right at Kaho'olawe and Molokini out there. See that little island out in the ocean. I'm here on Hawaii on the top of Haleakala mountain, not on the top, but on the side of it. So, wow, our video signal's already way down. You see that? So this is kind of weird. I was expecting more signal. So maybe these aren't going to work too good. But anyway, let's tilt the camera down so we're not so dark on the ground, so we can get a little bit better picture of where we're at. There we go. So we're going to try to maintain this route here so we're not too high. I might go a little bit to the right because if we're in kind of the Wi-Fi bubbles of these houses and homes. So I'm actually going to turn to the right just a tad. Right about, let's go a little further, right about there. There we go. So we'll go in that direction. And this thing lasts a long time. It lasts like 25, 26 minutes or more. They claim 33 minutes, but I've never seen it last that long. Maybe if you're pushing it to 0%, but I never like to push the batteries to 0% as much as possible. So since I kind of changed direction, I'm going to go back into the map here and make sure I'm pointing correctly at the drone. You see how we turned a little bit to the right? There we go. So looks good. Go back into our video. Man, this mount is doing pretty well locked into this controller. This is just a Mavic Pro mount. It's doing quite good, better than I thought it would. So still able to adjust the gimbal. It is interesting how the video signal though is only like 1 to 2 bars. It's pretty low, even with these dishes on there, these boosters. But guys, so we're past a mile. Gosh, after doing all that. And the horizontal speed is only like 4.5. For some reason that's supposed to be mile per hour, but I'm honestly thinking, let's go pitch all the way down and see the ground. I'm honestly thinking they are wrong on that. I'm thinking that might be meters per second, because for being this high and how kind of fast it's moving, you see that? I think that's more than 4.5 miles per hour. I think it's 4.5 meters per second. So anyway, that's what it is. Pulling the camera back up, again recording the iPad screen so you can see this beautiful countryside here in Hawaii. It is a little bit strenuous on my arms and my back to hold this controller this high. I have done 2 other range tests today, one on the Anafi out here, and also one on the this drone as well, the FIMI X8. Wow, really? So am I getting less? I'm already getting really garbled video. It's almost like I'm getting less with these dishes than I was stock. It was kind of out for a second, and it came back in pretty clear. I am occasionally just rotating, you know, the gimbal up and down just to see how good the video's coming in and how good my signal is. It's getting a little bit jittery again. So guys, if you didn't see the last range test here without the dishes, the boosters, I did get 2.5 miles with good video, and then 3 miles with still control, but the video went out. Just had to let my thumb off the stick for a second there. So we'll see how far this goes. I mean, the last one went 16,000 feet. And I can't imagine this one going that far if we're already getting all these signal errors and stuff. But, you know, we'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Let's pull this camera all the way up. That's all the way up, and that's the ocean side. A little bit further down here. Video's starting to pop in and out a little bit. Anyway, I'm still holding it directly at the drone. Maybe I should pull it away from my hat because this camera is maybe a little bit of interference. So now I have my arms fully extended and up a little bit. Yeah, still moving the gimbal up and down. A little bit jittery. See some garble in the screen. So we are over 2 miles, guys. 11,000 feet. Just see how far we can get. Oh, screen just went out for a sec, but then it came back and it's pretty smooth. Okay, this is the South Maui area. To the left you can see Molokini, that little island, and then behind it is Kaho'olawe Island, and then to the right, whoop, there we go, got the video back. To the right is Lanai. Okay, yeah, we're getting video droppages. Wow, so it may, in a no interference area, guys, it may perform better without these parabolic boosters. Because what it might be doing is taking any interference as well that it's picking up along the route for some reason and amplifying it into the drone, which is kind of unnecessary. So it's kind of working against you perhaps, because my video is getting really bad now. There it goes, came back. I'll just hold it right here. I'm trying to brace my arms on my chest. Figure this out. Anyway, okay, this looks like a good spot. Not bad. A little bit of breakup still. 14,000 feet, guys. So I wasn't getting this amount of breakup when I was doing the range test without these parabolic dishes. Just before this, which is in another video I'll have posted up on the channel and also linked in the description. Also have those little boxes pop up where you can click on the box. That links right to the videos that I'm talking about. Throughout the video, also have the other range tests and reviews. Still can control the gimbal, but you see it's getting quite pixelated. So actually, maybe we are getting further with a little bit better video than without the dishes at this distance. So what I'm seeing so far is with these guys, a little more breakup on the way out, but it seems like our video is still staying, our FPV video is still staying locked at the distance, even though it's a little bit garbled. Okay, so now we're past where we were with no range extenders. So we're 16,500 feet. The video is very garbled, but look at this. I can still see, I can still move the gimbal, and the video is still relatively clear coming in FPV. So that's pretty good. I wonder how far we'll get. And this thing will fly forever, like I was saying. It's only at 67% power. We've been flying for 10 minutes and 30 seconds approaching, or recording for 10 minutes and 30 seconds up on the top right there. And again, they'll have the 4K and also the video of the iPad I'm seeing here up on the screen. You guys can see all the numbers. We're at 45 feet height from its launch point elevation. Whoops. I just clicked the right key by accident. Oh, I just angled it down a little bit.
Using sticks in RTH mode will change flight route.
There we go. I had to angle it down because I had to click back on the
Using sticks in RTH mode
screen.
will change flight route.
Let me try to readjust here and turn off the auto return. Whoops. Shucks. Okay, yeah, we lost signal. 18,565 feet, guys. I think that's a pretty good usable range. So I'm going to press return to home button on the controller. It probably is already in return to home, but I'm just going to click it. So you know what? That's effectively 2,000 more feet. So maybe a half a mile longer, about farther than we got with just the original antennas. So not a huge difference, and I suspect it's possibly due to it just doesn't need it out here, you know. And it was pretty garbly, so nothing's coming in. We have no connection, so we're just gonna hold the controller up and look at the map and hopefully get connection again. Anyway, that's as far as I went. See that there? So that's me on the blue arrow. That's my home point, and you can see as I rotate the controller left and right. Oh, we just got signal again. Nice, look at that. So our video came back. All right, let me tilt this gimbal up a little bit more. There's the Haleakala Mountain, guys. We just had snow on this mountain about a week ago. The most snow I have ever seen. It was a super stormy day. I'll have that 4K up there so you can view that mountain. That's Haleakala Mountain. That mountain's about 10 to 13,000 feet. My elevation right now I think is about 4 to 6, I forget. 4 to 6,000. Yeah, so I have control again. So it does seem like this one's good at you know, locking in, bringing back the video at least. I just did a range test right here also on the Nafi today. That's in another video as well, out in the wilderness here, and I couldn't get the video back until I went out of the app and came back in on the Nafi, the Parrot Nafi. You may be familiar with that one. So video seems to be doing fairly good, popping in and out. So out here, I would say, we'll talk about it a little more when it lands. But I would say there's not really much need for these parabolic range extender booster dishes because you're away from all that interference. They did help a lot though in the residential down there at a park. A spot that's really known for pretty bad interference that I fly a lot of my drones in when I do the initial flight tests, testing out all the functions. And this thing was pretty bad over there. It was only 34 to 4,400 feet until it's like lost signal around all the home Wi-Fi's and stuff. And then I put these things on and I got 2 to 3 times that far. So these do work better, it seems, in high interference areas, but like I was saying, not super needed for distance in the wilderness like this and super low interference areas. So it's flying back at still 4.5. It is an imperial setting, which is supposed to be mile per hour, but I really doubt that is in its mile per hour setting. I think that's meters per second, so it's probably going like, what is that? It's probably going like 15 miles per hour, around there, 16 maybe. So something they need to work on. Now this is the iPad I'm using right now. I also did the Android in my initial flight test and range test. And there's a little bit of differences between the two. This also has an update for the camera recently, so you guys be the judge if that camera looks better. It was having a blue tinge in my initial range test. So watch what happens when I put the controller down and so the dishes aren't facing it anymore. See, that immediately cuts out. So that gives you a really good indication of how directional, just pick the antennas back up to face it, how directional these antennas are. I'm right there at the 2/3 up that little grassy knoll in the center of the screen now. Click on it for a better exposure. There we go. Wow, it's kind of dropping out a lot recently. Interesting. Let's see how it's dropping out. I should be pointing right at it. Let me make sure my arrow is pointing at it. A little over that way. There we go. Yeah, should be good. Click on the clouds. Oh, surprising the screen's cutting out that much. I'm holding it right up at it. So again, let's try this test again. I'm going to move the controller down so the dishes are facing the ground. Watch this. 3, 2, 1, go. All video lost. And I'm now going to face it up. 3, 2, 1, up. Immediately comes back. That's pretty awesome. So that's a perfect use case of what these things are doing. They're just directing it out at a 45-degree, kind of like a wedge at the drone. So anyway, looking good. Coming back great. I almost want to take these things off and rest my arms, but I'll just leave it on there. Let's go back into the map. So if you guys are trying to figure out, oh, we can also rotate the map around, that's cool. If you guys are figuring out kind of like what, oh, that was interesting. The drone has to like turn its arrow a little bit as I spin the map. That's cool. So if you're trying to figure out like which one to get, this is definitely a viable option because look at the flight time on this thing. If you had the Spark or the Mavic, the DJI Spark or the DJI Mavic Air, which are pretty awesome drones in themselves, they would have already run out of power. And this thing can fly for about another 10 minutes. And it's got a 4K camera on it that looks pretty good. And the app is getting better. With every update they kind of push. We've got a very good map. We have our orientation of our controller signal, which way we're facing. We can switch in and out. And then we have all those smart functions. If you want to see how all those smart functions work, guys, check out my 2 park flight tests where I test them all out. Some of them need a little bit of work. Like the tracking needed like a little bit. I'm just clicking on the clouds, kind of darkening it up a little bit. The exposure value, because it looked pretty washed out. It's really hard up here to get a really non-washed out picture because the sun's shining at these trees, and cameras don't do very good with foliage, I found. Yeah, so if I click up at the sky, you see how that just brings the exposure value way down. Anyway. Oh yeah, I think we can use the right, now I'm just using the right roller. And I'm rolling it to the left. See how that value is going up and it's getting washed out? I forgot you can do this. I'm rolling it to the right now. And it's looking a little better. It's darkening it a little bit. One more to the right. That looks pretty good. You guys can be the judge of how that looks in the main 4K video. Wow, okay, so I've done 2 flights on this SD card today, 2 of these range tests, and look at the bottom SD card data. We're just about to use it up. So you can expect on a 32 gig high-speed SD card, expect to do 2 full flights, I guess, on it before you run out of space. Looks like we're gonna be A-okay. Wow, we've been flying for over 20 minutes. And it's still 31%. I wonder if we want to do another flight time test. I might just hover it until it runs out of power. I think I'll do that. I'm going to hover it up there. I'm going to take off these range extenders because we don't need them anymore. Pulling them off. Worked pretty good, but for out in the country here, you don't really need them. I'm just going to throw them on the ground there. And
Low battery. Please learn this app to avoid damaging.
okay, we got a low battery. I'm going to exit the return to home. Okay. Whoa, really? It said operation failed. Oh, I got to switch it out on the controller. There we go. So don't forget to switch this physical switch on the controller if you're trying to get out. I'm going to tilt the camera down and I'm going to go back up. There's a new 4Runner. I'm trying to maybe do a review on that thing. We just got it. It's a 2019 4Runner Pro. Love it. Especially for excursions like this out in the country. And you got that 4-wheel drive and stuff. Alright, so we're getting low on our video. You see how I think it stopped recording. Yeah, so it stopped recording. On the bottom right you see the SD card, 0.4 gigabytes. It just stopped itself. So I'm gonna go up. So it's kind of out of audio range from these people that are trying to enjoy the country. A few people around here. What a beautiful day, man. We'll just go right around 400 feet. And maybe we'll just fly around a bit and just see how much flight time we have. At the end, I'll go ahead and have that pop up on the screen, guys. We'll just fly this way, fly down the hill. So if for some reason we do like completely run out of battery, it'll land somewhere in this, you know, field down here. Let's go down here. %, on our power. The cool thing about this drone is it will tell us when we need to return to home, and it will automatically force us to return to home if it thinks it only has enough battery power. And I really love that battery meter on the top left by the altitude. You see that on the bottom of it, below it? It's got the red, the orange, and that H right there. So what that means is it's constantly calculating its distance. There we go.
Low battery of RC.
Low battery. So it should go into return to home any second. There we go. So see that pop up? We'll just let it do what it thinks it needs to do.
Low battery for RTH. Plessy, fly carefully. Only RTH battery level left. The drone is returning.
Did you hear that? Plessy, fly carefully. So I think that was supposed to be please fly carefully, but Siri's translating please as Plessy for some reason. So maybe a little bit of work in the app they can do to get proper pronunciation. And we have a volume. Let me see if I can turn the volume down. No, that's coming out of the controller. Okay guys, so I can't turn that off. If that gets kind of irritating, you know. On this one, you know what? I want to fly, since this is like the 10th cycle.
Please land.
We're still maintaining our altitude. Okay. Once it gets overhead, I'm going to cancel it out. Let it hover there. So it's right overhead. I'm going to cancel auto return when it starts coming down. There, so it's starting to come down. Let it get a little bit closer, just so it doesn't drop out of the air or something, you know. So camera's all the way down. I guess this will be a range test with the parabolic dishes and a maximum flight time test before it's forced to land. Haven't done this one yet. I've always kind of landed when it told me to. So get right over here. Brighten the exposure a bit. That right roller. And right here I'm going to kind of stop it right there. So I'm pressing stop. And I'm 30 feet high. It's still coming down. So you see that? I'm canceling it out. Let's see what it does. Low battery, please land. Okay, so I had to cancel it out kind of like twice. Doesn't seem like it's automatically going into it again. Oh yes it is. No, it's not. Low battery, oh, it's really warning me now. It's just constantly like saying, really making it apparent that you need to land. But I just want to figure out the maximum flight time to like almost zero battery. This one should have like a fail-safe to where it will land before it hurts the battery. You see in the settings here, I'll try to go into the battery here. It's cool because you can just click on the battery. You see these on the bottom right? RTH when battery only, enough to RTH. I have that on, and I also have land when battery only enough to land on. So we'll actually, this will be a good test to see if it'll land before it damages the battery or drops out of the sky. I might come down a little closer in case it decides to just drop. Flip my antennas back so they're facing it. We'll hover at about 10 feet high. Put this camera back up. 3% power, man. Let's get a view of the mountain here while we're doing this. There we go. Westmont Mountains out there. Get the exposure up a bit. 2% battery power. Holy smokes. See how the exposure looks there. 1%. I'm gonna go closer to the ground. because if it drops, I don't want it to break it. Still flying good. Guys, it's 0%, it's still flying. Isn't it supposed to land? Still at 10.62 for a 3S. It still has decent voltage. You see that up on the top right? Above the 0. Oh my gosh. Okay, well. So you can fly under 0%. We'll just let it go. Man, am I ruining the battery? Oh, probably. Geez, we've been at 0% for a while, guys. But you know what? If I remember correctly, in the FIMI, not the FIMI, but the Xiaomi 4K bigger drone, they wanted you to do this once in a while to reset the 0 of the battery. 10.8 volts. A 3S high voltage shouldn't go lower than 9 volts, so we still have some breathing room here. Okay, now I'm going to bring it down. This is at a little over 9 volts. You see the voltage up there? Got in the yellow. So I'm going to land it. Boom. Excellent.
The drone is landing. Low battery. Please charge.
Holy smokes.
Low battery.
Let's turn it off ASAP.
Low
Quick.
battery. Please charge or replace. Low battery of RC.
Oh my gosh, it just keeps yelling at me. Turning off RC. Oh man, so we really did a lot on that test. We tested the range with these parabolic dishes. That was awesome. And we also tested over to like 0% battery, and it was flying for a while on 0. So good to know. At least you guys now know, even if I destroyed my battery, at least you kind of know that you can do that. Okay guys, wow, so that was pretty dang awesome. So let's talk about with or without those range extender dishes. It feels like maybe it's not really necessary in a country area like this with no interference. It seemed to like actually lessen the performance than without them in the country here, but definitely usable if there's any interference like in a residential area. So that's what I recommend using those for. But not only that did we test, we also tested the battery. We're at 1 bar and we got under 10 volts on the battery, under 0% reading on the power left. We'll see if it thinks it's an over discharge of the battery, but I don't think so. So we should be okay on that. I'm definitely going to charge it right away real quick. But you guys will have seen the footages up on the screen. I'll also have the flight time pop up here so you guys can see exactly how long that flight is, and if it is actually getting close to the 33 minutes of flight time that Xiaomi claims this can fly for. It may very well be 33 minutes if you go down to 0%, which this could do. So very impressed. We've figured out and learned a lot of stuff today, proving to be a pretty awesome competitor for what's out there now, and it's only right around $400 to $500. Again, link in the description down below. I'll have a coupon code down there so you can save even more money, and I'll also have all the stuff I'm using here. Seems like a pretty good setup if you're flying either in some interference or in the country. This is kind of the best setup I can find right now. So anyway guys, thanks for watching, and more to come. More videos, more drones, more testing, more range testing, and I will see you in the next one.